What's going on today, guys? Welcome to the 13th episode of the DailyC show. Super excited to have you guys. Today we're going to talk about diet. I've been getting a lot of questions about how I balance my nutrients or macronutrients, how I fit veggies into my diet, and basically just I want to offer some advice about the principles that I try to use to eat better and also to get the most effect out of my eating. I'm not an expert, but I definitely am in the field of playing sports and trying to figure out what to eat to maximize my performance. So I think this one's really going to help you guys. I hope this helps you guys advance your understanding and maybe inspires you to do some more research and learn some more yourself and continue to move forward in your journey. So what's up, guys? So basically, a couple questions that I've gotten are, what do you follow for a diet and how do you balance your macronutrients? Now, these two questions are both very interesting questions, and I'll answer those kind of as we move along here. And I want to kind of explain, there's definitely a lot of value in understanding dieting and understanding kind of the main don'ts. I think there's a lot of things that you can do to improve your diet, but I think there's just a few things that you really need to minimize and try to reduce if you want to get the maximum effect of your diet. So let me give you the most valuable thing right off the bat. The first thing that I think people need to realize with dieting is that you don't have to overcomplicate it. Yes, if you're an Olympic athlete and you're talking about shaving off 1/100th of a second out of your performance, maybe you're going to need to get into very, very fine details. But when you're a general athlete and your goal, like a hockey player, where your goal is just to maximize your performance in a general capacity, so the ability to hit, the ability to shoot, stick handle, skate fast, it's just a mix of a lot of different skill sets, right? You're not just even like a bobsledder or like a sprinter where your job is to simply do that quick explosive steps and that's it. Hockey players have to really do a lot of different stuff, and they have a lot of different capacities that need to be kind of maximized, or I guess made the most effective while still not losing anything with the other. So you don't want to become a really good sprinter and then are really good at takeoffs but then lose your stamina, right? So you could get really strong like a running back in football, but a running back in football is going to probably struggle with lasting a whole game in hockey when you have to take full minute shifts. So keep that in mind whenever you're talking about hockey. It's never going to be like directly black and white, like do not do this, do this, and it's never going to be take this exact amount. I made this mistake, not the mistake, but I experimented with what's called the zone diet in the past, which is balancing your macronutrients, 30% carbs, 30% protein, 40% carbs, and then 30% fats, and that's the calories. So you get 30% from protein calories, 40% from carbohydrate calories, and then 30% from your fat calories. So these kind of things, I was very, very strict, and I actually maintained I would always eat in exact ratios, and this made me feel really good. I found my strength went up quite a bit when I started to do it. But what I realized is that the amount of effort and the amount of time it took to basically just prepare meals to maintain that exact balance became a little bit too tough. It became kind of frustrating, and it ended up taking so much time out of my day that I found that it didn't really provide the value it needed for the amount of time put in. And secondarily, my issue was that I was actually trying to gain weight over the course of the off season and then going into last season and this season. And the problem with it is that I actually ended up losing quite a bit of weight. I think I was sitting at about 158-ish to begin the season. I think maybe around 160, right? And that's after a full off season of eating in the zone diet and lifting and everything. So I sat at about 160. Now, the problem with this is that I actually ended up losing weight during the season because your body's demands really go up, and I just couldn't maintain the calories. So I was eating on a calorie restricted diet with the zone, so I ended up dropping down to about 155 pounds last season at one point, kind of mid-season. And I decided to kind of say, you know what, let's experiment with doing something a little different. Let's continue to try to not eat quite as many carbs, so let's not go overload, but let's just kind of try to eat as much as I can, up the calories, and see what happens. Now, what I found was that my performance stayed, so it's not like my performance dropped way off the map. I was quick, I still felt good on the ice. I would say my lifting, the poundage for each lift kind of went down a little bit, but that also has to do with the fact that I'm in season, so I'm not lifting as much. Now, keep in mind that it's obviously going to be a little different for everybody. Somebody might try the zone who is a little bit overweight and has a really high body fat content, and they might find that it's amazing and it helps them drop that little bit of extra weight. But for me, being a guy who wants to gain weight and wants to continue to stay a little bit heavier because I'm more naturally a lighter guy, it took some time to realize that, you know what, I don't need to be so strict. What I need to do is save time and continue to get the calories in. So that was what I did for about, I think around 8 months. And then when I made that transition midway through the season to just eating more, I found that I had a solid effect. I was able to get up to about 163, 4. Never really, I kind of maybe just touched 165 for a little bit. So that was great. Now, what I did after that, and then I decided that I wanted to try something a little bit different. I wanted to experiment with something called intermittent fasting. Now, this is something I've been doing for the past 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. So I'm starting to definitely get a hang of how it works and what the benefits are. And it has been something that I've really, really enjoyed. Now, you have to realize that, again, if gaining weight, losing weight, staying lean, losing fat, gaining fat for guys who want to gain weight, gaining muscle, it really comes down to something very, very simple. Are you taking in more calories than your body burns? So for someone like me, I'm extremely active. I'm constantly doing stuff. So what I actually need is about 100, or not 100, I need about 3,000 to 4,000 calories, depending on the day, depending on my activity level, if I want to continue to gain weight. If I eat less than 3,000, I typically will lose weight, and I will lose muscle and I'll lose fat. Now, if you're trying to get lean, that's the key. You want to drop your calories down to a point where you can maintain your muscle mass, but also increase the kind of fat burning. So you want to drop that fat. So that's really it. It's simple as that. Take in more, if you're trying to gain weight, take in more calories than you burn. If you're trying to lose weight, take in less calories. So the reason I like fasting and the reason I'm doing it is because basically what you'll do is when you wake up in the morning, you will have fasted, so you will have not have eaten for the entire sleep, so around 8 hours or whatever time. Then you're going to spend the next period of time up until, I like to kind of go from 12 o'clock the night before until like 2 o'clock the next day, so somewhere around 14 hours of not eating. And what this does is this allows you to kind of burn fat, but also it helps you kind of like sharpen your mind. You feel a lot better. I heard George St. Pierre refer to it as, would you rather be the lion that is waiting for his first meal or the lion who just had his first big meal? And the lion who just ate is going to be kind of slow and tired and sit back and relax. But the lion that needs food is going to be sharp and aggressive and ready to go and ready to take on the world. And that's what I find. When I kind of take that time, I'm more focused. I'm able to get more work done. I'm dialed in. I just feel better. And I think that comes down to hormones. Your body releases the right hormones, knowing that it needs to kind of figure out how it's going to eat. Because when we were cavemen, we would have been searching the world trying to find food. And it would have taken some time before we found that first meal. So our bodies have adjusted to that. Now, the fact that we overload it with food in the morning now, I think kind of logically makes sense that maybe it's not the way we're designed to eat. So I could be wrong. I mean, it's a completely up in the air subject. I'm pretty certain on some things, but with diet, the only thing I can tell you for sure is that you need to experiment and see what feels best for you and gets you the results, and then tweak it and continue to see what happens. Now, what I like about eating in a fasted state, or about doing intermittent fasting, is that it allows me to eat kind of whatever I want after that 2 p.m. because I want to get that 3,000, 4,000 calories in. So I typically will eat a huge burrito for my first one of my first meals. I'll have like pizza, I have bread, I have all kinds of stuff that typically is really fast digesting carbs that is typically bad for you, that has gluten in it and all that stuff. And it allows me to still stay pretty lean. I mean, I'm sitting at probably about 11% body fat, something like that, and I feel great, I feel energized, I'm feeling strong, my muscle mass is continuing to grow. I'm sitting at about 165 right now, and basically I will probably hit about 172-ish, so 173 within the next while. I just lost some weight due to getting my wisdoms out, so I couldn't eat solid food for like 4 days last week, so I dropped a fair amount of muscle during that time, actually, just from not eating any food really, which was tough. But regardless of the fact, I think that intermittent fasting is a great option for you. I think that the key is to realize all you really need to do is manipulate your calorie intake and then manipulate your protein intake. So if you're not building enough muscle and you look at what you're eating and you realize you're not taking in enough protein, then you should probably experiment with having some more protein. So just increase that. Have some protein shakes, mix those in, continue to have solid food like ground beef, which is something I just love because it's very high calorie for someone trying to gain weight. You can do chicken, tuna, any kind of fish. You got lots of options, right? So don't be afraid to experiment. I hope this helps. I hope this makes sense. The goal for me here is I want to make you realize that you don't have to be super strict. You don't have to make your life a living hell just because you want to try to lean out or you want to try to gain weight. What you need to do is be simple and realize, increase those calories and do it how you want. You can try fasting and then having all your calories in a short time. That allows me to stay lean and also gives me many benefits when I'm fasted, like staying sharp, energized, and whatnot. So experiment and throw some more questions at me. Let me know what you think of this video, because my goal is to kind of help educate you guys a little bit more about what I've learned and inspire you to educate yourself and learn more. Like I said, I don't know everything, but I do know what has worked for me, and I just want to share that with you guys and help you guys out. Hit me up with those questions. I'll continue to respond to them. Maybe I'll do a couple more videos this week if I get some good questions in about dieting, and I just want to help you guys out. So thanks for watching today, guys, the 13th episode. Make sure you join me back tomorrow in the 14th episode of the DailyC show. Absolutely loving this so much. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. That's kind of where my main thing, where I'm doing most of my my on-ice stuff, so you can see my skill set and how I'm improving, and just enjoy the journey of me on my way to professional hockey. So thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. Have a great day. Crush it today, crush it this week, crush it this month, this year, this summer. Have fun.